Ciao.
Ciao.
Hey, look at you,
Boy.
fancy Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Ferrari, sorry, Jesus.
Luigi only followed the Ferrari. Because
This-
that's how the quote is. That's
I
how the...
embarrassed myself on that.
You
'Cause, like,
did.
no, like that doesn't make any sense. I looked at the clip. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, I had to call you out on that one, dude. I was like,
Man,
as my favorite movie growing up, I had the quote it right, and it was, it was
that's
great.
my
So,
favorite movie growing up. I'm embarrassed.
yeah, I know. How dare you? How dare you
Well,
insult cars? But yeah, so we're back. Episode, don't even know. I think it's
how long
episode 27. No, 24, 26. Episode 26. Yeah, it's been over a month. Our last show was on the 7th of August.
Yeah.
So, no. Yes, 7th of August. I can't do math, apparently.
And, but the reason for that is because on the 31st of August, there's a lawnmower outside. I apologize. But on the 31st of August, something happened. Let's see it. There it is. There it is.
Voila. So yeah, got married to my best friend Sophia, which was a great day. Chad was a part of it. He was a groomsman.
Still,
And
I mean, I mean,
well,
some of these other guys you've known for like half your life, and then we've only been talking consistently, like been friends consistently for a year. I'm like, oh,
well, when you do a podcast with somebody for almost every week for a year, and then talk about racing every single weekend, and you start to build a little bit of a friendship. If I didn't like you, I don't think it'd be a one host podcast. Or maybe there was a new host that I didn't know about that you tried to fill in during my time. We're not going to talk about that, though. What we are going to talk about, though, is the fact that we are back, episode 26. Lots happened, though. A lot has happened. Just kind of summing some things up. Yeah, so IndyCar, we saw the IndyCar series go back to Nashville Super Speedway, and Alex Palo became a champion there. Will Power had a lot of issues from the get-go that caused him to go multiple laps down, which is very sad. And Chad's now leaving the podcast. I don't really know why he's leaving for some reason. Is that I can't? It's blurry.
Oh, it's Will Power.
Ah, look at that on the K1 hat. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, so this is my work hat. I work at K1 Speed Nashville. So this is my work hat, and this is I got it. I literally it was after qualifying, and I was standing by the gate waiting for him to walk up, and he walked up, and I said, "Mr. Power," and he goes, "Yeah," and I go, "You don't know this? You're actually my boss." He goes, "How so?" And he saw my hat. I'm like, "Oh, do you work at the K1?" I said, "Yes, sir." Cool. And we had like a whole conversation, and it was super chill, and he's a super nice guy, and I was sitting next to my buddy Jesse, and I asked Will, I said, "Hey, if you win the championship, can we have the day off tomorrow?" And he said, "I'm not the one who makes that decision." And then I told my buddy Jesse about that, and then we saw him come down pit lane like 5 laps into it, and my buddy leans over and he goes, "You're going to work tomorrow."
Yeah, that was a fact. Yeah, that was not a good race for him.
Right?
What'd you say?
You know why he had to go down pit road?
Because of his belt.
His seatbelt came off.
Yeah, his seatbelt was off. I watched it from Italy, and
okay,
it was annoying, by the way, because the races are super late or early in the morning. So if it's like a late start, like Bristol, that race started at 2:30 in the morning, which is rough. So either way, though, Alex Palo became the champion, a superstar in the making. Yeah, I mean, 3-time champ, insane, is in the running possibly for being one of the greatest in the IndyCar series, especially at his young age. I mean, it's very, very impressive. Had the most top 5s, tied for the most top 10s. Incredible season he had, very consistent, beating out Colton Herta there at the end in points. So IndyCar is now off. They're off until March, basically. But we do have some other news came out from IndyCar.
March 2nd.
March 2nd. We do have some new IndyCar news that Logan Sargent is supposedly going to have a test with an IndyCar team. So we're waiting to hear how that is going to unfold. Also, they're announcing a new race for the 2026 season, the Arlington GP, which means Arlington, if you know anything about sports, Arlington is the home of where the Dallas Cowboys as well as the Texas Rangers play, because it's basically the same facility. You could walk to the stadiums, and they're going to be racing around both stadiums in 2026. Now, thinking about this, if you think about it, they are in essence replacing the street course that Nashville was supposed to have with this GP. If you think about it that way, because in Nashville, it's going to take a while to build the track back up.
Okay. I thought you said NASCAR. I don't know why.
No. Nashville. So it's going to take a second before the Titan Stadium's fully built, before they can bring back the street circuit here in Nashville. They're going to be at the Super Speedway at least next year, probably the year after that. So when you look at this is going to be another street circuit. It actually is a street circuit that they're introducing. I'm going to go. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, and my worlds are colliding here, racing and Cowboys in the same, like I'm going to be wearing probably like a Dallas Cowboys jersey and a Joseph Newgarden hat. Like it's going to be wild. But yeah, so those are some
wearing a Steelers jersey if I go to that race.
You're wearing a what?
A Steelers jersey.
Oh yeah, you're a Steelers fan. How about that game on Sunday night? Huh?
I don't watch football.
I know.
My only football knowledge comes from my brother and my dad. That's it.
Yeah, well, the Steelers lost in a fourth quarter game-winning drive by the Cowboys with 20 seconds to go on fourth down through a touchdown pass to win the game. So it's hard. Well, I wish you knew a little bit more about it. I could rub it in a little bit more. But either way, crazy to see those two historic franchises facing off. Back onto the discussion of racing, though. Yeah, so IndyCar is going to be back. And as the news unfolds with IndyCar, we will let you know. But that's really it. There's season's over. Yeah. We have some new drivers potentially going to enter the circuit. We saw Logan Sargent is going to have a test as well. So let's see what unfolds. But if you're ready, let's just go. We can go right into the Formula One. We're in the middle of the heat with Formula One.
I was at the Music City Grand Prix, and super fun. Saw a lot of our buddies. Wes was there. I got to hang out with Wes.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, Gertie was there. So a lot of mine and John's friends were there, and it was super cool. My only complaint about the entire thing, which I had paddock passes to the race, which were only $100. Sweet.
Not bad.
Only complaint, and it's not even something that the Speedway, IndyCar, or anyone could have controlled. I waited over an hour for food.
Where was the food at?
It was a food truck. Okay. So Gertie, John, had gotten this steak sandwich, and he tore off a piece and let me try. I'm like, dude, that's really freaking good. He's like, food truck's right over there. I said, okay. So I went over there, placed my order, and they said, hey, it's gonna be like 20 or 30 minutes. And
what was the name of the food truck? Was it a red one? It's a Philly thing?
No, it was a steak sandwich. It was a black truck, and it was. And he was like, and I looked at Gertie or John, and he said, it's worth it. I said, okay. So I did that. So I got my food, and then I actually walked around to a few of the shops for a little bit, a few of the other vendors and stuff, and then I came back. And I was like, and I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm looking, and then next thing I know, I look behind me, and I see people standing like this. And I try and focus and listen. I hear the national anthem going on. I'm like, shit. And I was like, look, this is my number. Where is it? And she goes, you're the next one out. And I said, okay. And if I wasn't the next one out, I was going. And luckily, I was the next one. I got it. I ran to my seat, and it was good. It would have been better if I didn't have to wait an hour.
Right. And
but yeah, it was super fun, super cool. I got to see a lot of my friends, and yeah. John, you got to go with it unless you're on a second honeymoon to Italy again.
So there is a possibility that we're going to Zandvoort and Monza in 2025, or going to Milan for the 2026 Winter Olympics in February. So we don't know yet. It's up in the air. We don't know yet. But the issue is, Chad, it's on our anniversary. That's the issue.
And that is completely understandable. We just had a whole conversation before.
You understand that? Is that wow?
Oh,
how easy.
Above racing.
How easy it is to understand.
Yeah. But yeah.
So if I can make it, I'll be there. But I will be there for the All-American 400. So.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What are you doing the first weekend?
Yes, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Remind me after this. I have to send you the link to register for the online All-American 400.
Yes. When is it?
It's after the actual race.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. As long as it's after, it's fine. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that will be a fun one. We got to make a whole video out of that.
I'm gonna stream it. We should stream it.
The race itself?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've always hated filming and stuff. Like, there's only one time I've ever been like, thank you for live streaming a race. It was the Atlanta race, the first Atlanta race this year. I was scrolling through TikTok. Some dude on TikTok Live was streaming the race.
Yeah.
And it was 3 laps to go, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. And then I saw the amazing finish, and I was like,
dude. Speaking of amazing finishes, can we talk about how crazy? Well, we're going to talk about that later. Talladega was a good race.
4 out of these. Okay, I'm just going to say 4 out of the 6 closest finishes in NASCAR history have been this season.
We had the largest wreck in NASCAR history.
Really?
In Cup Series history, 28 cars at Dega.
I didn't know the largest. I thought it would have been more. But.
We also have, if we have one more winner, I think it's going to be the most.
If we have one more winner, it'll be 19. I
think it'll be the most winners that we've ever had, different winners in a season. So yeah, 2024 is.
We've got a lot of stuff, and we've got a lot of negative stuff to talk about. DVP.
Don't even
stuff. But I think you're right. Let's go on to Formula One now.
Yeah. So the last time we had a Formula One discussion, it was after, or it was during the summer break. So Lewis Hamilton had just won the Belgian Grand Prix, and let's talk about what's happened since then. So on August 25th, Lando Norris won the Dutch GP, followed by Charles Leclerc. This guy right here, Charles Leclerc. I actually got this from the Ferrari vending machine in Italy, so that was fun.
That is a very Italian Ferrari thing.
Yes, it is.
It's a Ferrari vending machine.
It is, yes. So he won the Italian GP in Monza, which I have a reaction video to that I have not shared yet, of me absolutely bawling my eyes out. Either way, on the 15th, Oscar Piastri finally got a win that he deserved in Azerbaijan, followed by Lando Norris in Singapore. And we have a championship battle. I mean, we have a battle going on right now. And it can come down to the last race. So it's going to be a close battle. The next race is going to be in Austin. So that's going to be a very fun race there, the United States GP. And looking at this race, it's coming up in 2 weeks, so we'll have a podcast before. I mean, it's McLaren's game to lose at this point, and Max Verstappen also has come out and said that his car and his summer woes are going to be put away at Austin. So will we have a good battle? I don't know, but the McLarens are the best team right now in Formula One, and they are, if they can keep up this point battle where Lando is the only one, unless something significant happens to Lando and something significantly happens to Max. Charles in third is still mathematically possible to win the championship, but it's a 2-horse race.
Yeah,
between Norris and Verstappen. I think this is going to continue. I think Norris has a better car than Max. Now, can Norris's experience get, in his way a little bit comparatively to Max? Who knows? But I mean, right now we have a 2-horse race in Formula One, and it's exciting. I don't know if you've heard this. Basically, tickets for the USGP have skyrocketed, knowing that it's actually going to be a race. Because when Verstappen was winning a bunch, the prices fell because nobody wanted to watch Verstappen just dominate.
Yeah.
Now that Verstappen's not at that point, ticket prices have gone through the roof. So
Got it. In fact, I got a text message today from my friend Laurel, who I went to high school with. She currently goes to Baylor University. And she texted me today. She's like, "Hey, I'm going to Austin for the Grand Prix," and I texted her. I was a bit of a smartass. I said, "Oh, did you have to convince your parents to take out a second loan on their house?" But, it was more or less a joke. But she's
funny.
Really gotten into Formula One, and she's actually really been getting into the business side of Formula One, which is pretty cool.
That's cool. Does she listen to the podcast?
I don't know.
Well, you should send her this episode. Shout out to Laurel
and say, "Hey, you got a shout out in this podcast." But
and we have a question, Laurel. What is your favorite Formula One? Who is your favorite Formula One driver? Don't answer that question because you probably know it, Chad.
I think she's got like a couple, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well,
but I think it is going to be a good race, especially at a track that produces good racing.
Yeah,
no,
and it's a repave. It's a repave too, so the grip's going to be higher, faster laps. And they also added fake gravel traps. I don't know if you've heard about that, but they added fake gravel traps to.
The hell is a fake gravel trap?
I don't know. It's fake gravel to reduce the amount of track limit violations. So there are now traps there, so drivers do not go over the limit because it's been an issue. So, but right now that race is coming up. It's going to be next weekend, the 18th through the 20th. It's going to go on Sunday, October 20th, the day after the third Sunday or the third Saturday in October, which is the Alabama-Tennessee game, which, Chad, I hope you're going to attend.
I will be in town that weekend. That game, fun fact, is actually very significant to me and my girlfriend. I've told John this story. If you're not watching, he's currently shaking his head. But the day we met was the day of the Tennessee-Alabama football game. And I don't watch much football to begin with, like I said earlier. But I know the rivalry between Tennessee and Alabama, and she was wearing an Alabama sweatshirt. I walked up to her and I said, "Hey, I don't watch football, so I won't give you any shit for wearing your sweatshirt." Now it's a bit of banter that we have back and forth with each other, which is a lot of fun. But I've got something going on that day. Depending on what time I get done, I'll most likely head straight to your place and just hang out.
The game's at 3:30. So I know that probably going to make it to where you can't.
My goal is to get there for at least the second half.
Okay, got it. Because I thought it was going to be a night. We thought it might be a night game, but after Tennessee lost to Arkansas and Vanderbilt lost, or Tennessee lost to Arkansas and Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Crazy. Then that game is moved to a 3:30 slot. So that's always fun. But Haven is always welcome, even though she's an Alabama fan.
I think she's actually working that night, but I bet she'd love to come. She still has to meet you.
I know
you, but with her job, I don't know. It's the whole thing. We're getting off topic, but
she'll be the only Alabama fan there. We'll see how that goes. It'll be fine.
I'll be wearing my work clothes, but yeah, I feel like it'll be. I feel like it's going to be a great race. I feel like this championship battle, if it keeps going the rate it is, I feel like we're going to have a legitimate championship battle. The first championship battle I remember that came down to the wire was 2016, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton.
Right.
Then it was the Lewis Hamilton show. Then we had to wait till 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Another insane which I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't care what anyone says. That was a great race. That was a great race.
You just pissed off every Lewis Hamilton fan ever.
That was a fantastic race.
So it should be good.
Opportunity to have another one, having another one this close to, it's insane. I love it.
Like every 3 to 5 years, it looks like a trend that's starting to form. 2016, 2021, 2024.
I feel like a big part of it has to be the new car.
Yeah,
I feel like the new car really tightened up the field. I feel like the new car has really put more of a spectacle on, which I absolutely love. And but in other news, we have 2 drivers who got the boot.
Yeah, Danny Rick.
I'm very upset about 2 drivers I absolutely love.
Yeah, well,
They're my favorite drivers.
well, we'll see. See if Logan, he'll probably be in IndyCar. If I had to predict, he'll be in IndyCar. Daniel, I don't know. I think Daniel's kind of a wild card. I feel like if he had the chance, I feel like Trackhouse would bring him into NASCAR.
Oh my God, that race would be. I'd love that because I mean, in my opinion, he fits the personality of it.
Oh yeah.
All right,
And
and
everybody would welcome him with open arms. So there's that.
I mean, because he has ties, technically a bit of time, because he said growing up in Australia, he loved watching NASCAR. He wanted to be a NASCAR driver. And then he ended up going the Formula One route. But his number is number 3
because of
Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah. I mean, I think it should happen. I mean, the publicity that would be around.
Oh my God.
It would be astronomical. Now, here's how my marketing mind is working with this. NASCAR, if you're listening,
okay,
you have a lawsuit on your hands right now.
We're getting marketing, John, now.
Just forget the lawsuit. Don't worry about that really quick. Because if you don't already know or you live under a rock, no offense, I promise. NASCAR is getting sued by 2311 in Front Row for antitrust situations within them monopolizing the
we
money.
Talk about with NASCAR.
There's a lot. But if you're NASCAR, you have season 2 of Full Speed coming out in February, I think.
I'm excited.
2025?
Episodes.
Yeah. In 2025. What better way to kick that off by somehow Trackhouse, like, let's make this a marketing situation, a marketing storm of greatness where you have Danny Rick running a one-time race with Trackhouse, with somebody for the 500 or something to kick off Full Speed and to kick off the season, or have Danny Rick come in and run Coda, to run Watkins Glen, to come run the Chicago Street Race, to run Mexico. No, he needs to run Mexico because he's been there before.
He's been to Coda there before too.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be more suitable, kind of like what we've seen with Juan Pablo Montoya and Kimi Räikkönen.
Yep, exactly.
Doing more of a Jenson Button too, doing like a Coda or Mexico City. We've got so much to talk about with NASCAR. I mean, this is gonna be a heavy NASCAR episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is freezing in my dorm room right now. But yeah. But
straight face.
But yeah, I mean it sucks. I hate that they did it right before the Austin GP.
That is pretty shitty. I'm gonna say it's not great. I mean, with how much he loves the race and how much the American fans love Danny Rick, and him not being in the car at Austin, it's gonna suck. I mean, Liam Lawson's gonna do a great job, but still, wait till after. Like,
but like I've said time and time again, at the end of the day, Formula One, Red Bull, Visa, Cash App, whatever it's called, they're businesses.
Yep.
And as from a fan's perspective, from a fan's perspective, yes, it's horrible. I mean, that's two out of the five of my favorite drivers aren't even racing in it anymore, and it hurts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand. As much as I hate to say it, Logan Sargent wasn't delivering results. As much as I hate to say it, Daniel Ricciardo was not delivering results.
You're making a lot of people mad.
You're
right. The issue is you're right, though.
But that's just it. And they got the boot, and they've gotten some, Liam Lawson's shown that he's able to perform decently in a Formula One car. What's this other guy's name in the Williams seat?
Oh my gosh. Oh, he looks like Ayrton Senna. What's his name? If you wouldn't have asked that, I would have been able to talk about it.
Hold on.
My gosh. Now I can't remember his names. What's his name?
Calipino.
Calipinto.
Calipinto.
Colapinto. Franco Colapinto. Yeah.
He's already scored more points than Logan Sargent.
Okay, granted, he did have an upgrade, but either way, he put points. Yes. It's business. They want to get the best driver in there. Logan wasn't it. And it is what it is at this point. And Danny Rick wasn't it. And it is what it is. It is what it is at this point. Yeah. So yeah, well, we'll see where they go. But we have that Austin GP, the United States GP coming up in 2 weekends.
And speaking of the Formula One NASCAR kind of merge type thing, another big announcement came out, which this segues. John, where are you and me going to be Memorial Day weekend of 2025?
Charlotte. No, Indianapolis. Sorry.
I was like, really?
Indianapolis.
And we will be hopefully being able to witness something that many people have attempted and some have failed. And this person failed last year by things out of his control.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson will be attempting the double once again. The Hendrick 1100 Part 2. Now, when that announcement was made, the CEO of McLaren, Zach Brown, was in North Carolina and got invited to go on the Dale Jr. Download. Have you heard that episode yet?
No.
I highly recommend listening to it. It's great. I love it. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. presented this question to Zach Brown. You guys are doing a lot of stuff. You're in multiple forms of racing, Formula One, IndyCar, and more. Is there any chance you would entertain the idea of running in NASCAR? Zach Brown's response was yes and no. And I agree with his answer. NASCAR's not McLaren's market. NASCAR is a completely different market than what Formula One and kind of IndyCar. IndyCar is a happy middle ground between Formula One and NASCAR is what I like to see IndyCar as. And he said that most likely maybe do a one-off race, maybe run the 500. You know? And I'd love to see that, you know? And so that's literally just a topic of conversation that came up between them. If you haven't, go listen to that interview. It's insane. You hear Zach Brown's story, which the way he got to where he is an amazing story. I absolutely love it. And yeah, if you get a chance, please go listen to that.
And really quick, I want to touch on that though. So Aero McLaren in IndyCar is a Chevrolet. And in 2025, more news, the cars aren't going to be Camaros. So really quick, let me demonstrate really quick. So
technically they're not going to be Oh no. That's some stuff on that shelf.
Yes, it is. So this is my new William Byron Daytona 500 paint diecast that I got from my good old buddy Chuck at Goat Racing Diecast. Go check him out.
But,
it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
It is.
Yes. But on the back, I'm trying not to reliving this is insane. But on the back here, you can see where it says Camaro, right? Well, on the new paint schemes that came out, because William Byron was one of the first drivers that launched his 2025 paint schemes, which is beautiful, by the way. If you haven't checked it out, we're going to talk about it right now. It's a blue base with red, orange, and yellow flames. It's bringing back that car. There's another car up there that I could bring a whole display. Either way, though, in 2025, since the Camaros are not in production anymore, they have to remove the Camaro on the back of this and replace it with Chevrolet. Now, the ZL1, that's right here on the car, is going to stay there, but it's technically not going to be branded as a Camaro. So, got to put this back up here.
Trying to see if I can find a better... I found a photo, but I'm trying to see if I can find a better one. I can't, but I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Such a anyways.
I'm going to share my screen just for a second here. So if you're watching on Google Chrome, would like to record this computer screen. Okay. Oh, God. It's going to make me do the whole thing.
You're not going to be able to share your screen with the podcast.
Well, for those watching.
Oh, that's true. You will. Okay.
Okay. So just real quick. I don't know if you can see my screen. So just barely.
There it is.
Right over here. You can see it doesn't say Camaro. It says Chevrolet.
And also, while we're on the topic, Shane Van Gisbergen running the WeatherTech Chevrolet
Series
2025 in the Cup Series in the 88 car, which we haven't seen. Do I have an 88 car over here? No, I don't. I don't think I have Junior's 88. Either way, that's another piece of news that we have. So SVG running full time in the Cup Series.
Should we just go ahead and move on to NASCAR at this point?
We're talking about NASCAR.
Well, before we do that,
we're in the playoffs. By the way,
we're in the playoffs, but this week on our local racing report, we are headed to in my opinion, probably one of the most famous short tracks in the world, Millbridge Speedway in North Carolina. I've been to this track before. Hello. Hi. John's currently doing something probably for the Instagram, but we're headed to Millbridge Speedway. They raced this past weekend, October 5th. So here are your top three from each A main. So they had the intermediate, the beginner box stock, the box stocks, the cadet, junior wing, restricted micro, Yamaha Open, and the regular micro. So in the intermediate, started fourth, finished third in the 57 is Peyton Johnson. Started on pole, came home second in the number 32 is Tanner Tucker. And starting second and finishing on the top step of the podium in the number 55C, Tanner Cheek. In the beginner box stock, in the number 48, finishing third, Mason Treater. In the number 44J, finishing second, JC Dysart. And finishing first in the number 21, Giselle Hicks. I hope I pronounced that correct.
Giselle? GIS.
Are you looking at the same thing I'm looking at?
No, I just know how Giselle is spelled.
There's no...
Is it GIS?
Yeah.
There's Giselle.
There you go. In the box stock division, started fifth, finished third, is the number 16 of Alex Slade. Started sixth, finished second in the number 5B, Brantley Lamb. And started first, finished first in the number 44S, Zoe Smith. In the box stock division, headed down to the cadet division now. Started second, finished third. Excuse me, and the number 5J is Jackson Simmons. Started eighth, finished second, and the number 4 is Cruz Horseman, and started third, finished first, and the number 10, love that number, Thomas Mullins. In the junior wing division, started 12th. Started first, finished third. And the number 33, Braden Masseter. Started fourth, finished second. The number 6, Jackson Darnell. And started second, finished first. And the number 9, Chase DeMarco. In the restricted micro, they had a full show this night.
I'd say that's a lot of racing going on. Wow.
And there's heat races and qualifying for all of this. So this was a wild night. In the restricted micro, started fourth, finished third. And the number 3, Ryder Hungart. Started second, finished second, and the number 94, Carson Hamel. Started first, finished third, and the number 32, Tanner Tucker. Yamaha Open Division, in the number 7S, finished third, Mark Pilardi. Started seventh, finished second, the number 02J, LJ McCleary. And coming home with the win in the number 97W, Christian Hickman. Finally, in the micro division, micros, started fourth, finished third in the number 33, Joey Robinson. Came home second in the number 5, Owen Halpin. And started second, finished first, my former teammate, number 7, Carter Beatty. So, yeah. If you would like your local short track shouted out on the Flag to Flag podcast, email flagtoflag10@gmail.com or hit us up on any of our social media channels. Listen out for those at the end of the episode. Make sure you go to your local short track and bring a friend. This week's Flag to Flag at the track will be Charlotte Motor Speedway. I will be announcing the NASCAR Youth Series Championship race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and depending on what time we get done, I will be at the Charlotte Roval race.
You got to go to the Roval. Go to the Roval. Absolutely, if you can.
If I can, I'm working.
True. Good point. Oh, text message.
I did just get a text message. I'm sorry you heard that. Your vehicle was ready to pick up. So yeah, I had to drop my car off at the tire shop.
I also dropped my car off before I left the tire shop. Got some new tires.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't want to run slicks anymore.
Fair. Phil, did you ever find out what that random liquid was?
No idea. Okay, backtrack a little bit. So Chad showed up in my house because he lives like literally within walking distance. And one night he showed up, and I got back from getting Chipotle, and for some reason I opened up my car door and there was just liquid in my front right by my passenger seat, and I had my food, and I was like, oh, maybe it leaked. The bag wasn't wet. There was no condensation. There was no, anything coming off the food. I have no idea. So I had to basically get a towel. And so I don't have any idea where that liquid came from. Speaking of liquid, let's talk about the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. There's no segue there. I just literally made up something that makes no sense.
We're like, what are we?
No, it makes no sense. That was crazy. That was a liquid-filled weekend. Let's talk about the NASCAR Cup Series. So we're currently in the playoffs for the Craftsman Trucks, the Xfinity, and the Cup Series. We're going to highlight the Cup Series, starting off with really backing up until September, actually August. You had Austin Dillon, obviously his whole thing that happened at Richmond. You had Reddick win at Michigan. You had Harrison Burton win at Daytona, and Chase Briscoe win at Darlington.
Now, can I say this about Harrison Burton's win at Daytona?
Yes.
I was in Huntsville that night because it was a Saturday night race. I was in Huntsville that night. Our buddy, once again, another shout out, our buddy Gertie, John, texted me and said I think John's 51. I'm pretty sure that's what. Yeah. He takes care of himself.
I thought he was 35.
He'll probably kiss you for that. Anyway,
it's the no shoes. It's the no shoes.
It's the no shoes. But I got a text message and it said, watching Jeb, Jeff, and now Harrison win at Daytona. It said it brought a tear to his eye. And then I get back, and I think Denny Hamlin said it best on his podcast. Sign Lee Diffie for 36 out of 36 races for next year.
So, I don't know if you saw my post about this. Lee Diffie might be my favorite play-by-play NASCAR analyst / commentator ever. I mean, when I heard that he was coming back for the last series of races, including the playoffs, I love the way his energy, he calls it great. I know people put Rick Allen in there. Yeah, Rick Allen is good in his own way, but Lee Diffie is so good. I don't know what it is.
Chills.
Oh, 100%.
Chills.
Especially when he was like, Jeff, your little boy just won. I was like, bruh.
And it's just like, Kyle Busch, it's been since 2008 since he's won at Daytona, but here comes Harrison! And I was like, I already knew who won the race. I had already known what happened. I was on the edge of my seat, and I already knew what was going to happen.
He's got to be there longer because it's great, especially if they want to grow the sport globally, which is their approach going to Mexico in 2025. I mean, you have the NASCAR Brazil Series, you have the NASCAR Mexico Series, which, by the way, the NASCAR Brazil Series, it's their championship finale this weekend. So tune into that. Either way, Lee Diffie, I mean, so good. So fucking good.
But I think Dale Jr. also had a good point, too, where you match great moments with the commentator.
Bingo. Yep.
Dale Earnhardt's Daytona 500 win. Every time you think of that, I don't know if you think of this, but you want to know what I think of? 20 years of trying.
20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt comes to the checkered flag to win you match that with that, all right?
Oh yeah.
And even with me, if ever, like every time I go to Nashville Super Speedway, I expect to hear Joe Williams' voice over the PA system. Every time I go to the fairgrounds, I expect to hear John Nix's voice over the, because I mean, you just match those with it, and I'm trying to think of another. What is it? I mean, even Formula One.
Oh, I got something for you that you probably.
Lewis Hamilton.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Great moments with the voice. I have a comb in my hand because I need something to fidget with. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but in case you're wondering.
So if you're a sports fan, you're going to know exactly who this voice is, and when this is said, you know things are getting crazy in the sport of basketball. Let me know if you could hear this.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
I know what moment you're talking, but I mean, even outside of NASCAR, you get it. Like, one of my very first memories, I was in 3rd or 4th grade. No clue what the sport of football was. Don't know how the sport works. But when I'm sitting at the dinner table and I hear my mom and dad yelling at the TV because Alabama just missed a field goal and it was recovered by Auburn.
Oh, that is that clip. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Oh my gosh. And then
yeah.
Even have even a radio, like every time I think of the Tennessee-Alabama football game a few years ago when Tennessee won, I connect that to the radio broadcast because I listened to it. I have a video of me listening to it, and it's insane. And even, oh my gosh, I mean, that's why I love announcing. That's why I love going to races and announcing. I mean, even in my high school days, I was a part of some fantastic, I think one of my favorite games I ever announced was a high school girls basketball game because it came down to the wire,
right?
And it was insane.
Yeah,
and I absolutely loved it.
Commentators really make or break the race, and I think there is a huge disconnect with how races are called because of there's no not that there's no excitement. Let me back that up a little bit. Oftentimes, especially in the trucks, you got really not a lot comparatively to Lee Diffie and the energy he brings. So yeah. Lee Diffie is a godsend. He is from the announcing Hall of Fame, sent down by the Angels to bring us great action. He'll be calling the Roval, which I'm very excited to see. I don't know yet. Are they going to do the MRN style announcing this weekend?
I have no clue.
I feel like they will. Typically they do that. So we'll see. But talking about NASCAR, let's talk about the round of 16. And let's talk about who has been in the playoffs. Chad, I don't know if you remember, but we made playoff predictions early in the year. So let's see who was right, who had the most drivers in the playoffs.
Well, let me go to that paper as well real quick.
I actually think you got me.
No way.
I actually think you got me. I'm looking at it right now.
Where's our podcast?
Truex, Gibbs, Wallace. Yep. So let me highlight these guys. You actually may have gotten me. So at the beginning of the season, we predicted who was going to be in the playoffs. And
yep, I see it right.
Logano, Blaney. Okay, so I'm going to fix mine really quick. Barry was not. Gibbs was. Okay. Gibbs was in. So Buescher was not in. Busch was not in. Barry, Chastain, Jones, and LaJoie. Yeah, you had one more driver than me in. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excuse me. That didn't match. You had 1, 2, 3, 4. You had 4. So you had 2 more. Now, if you look at the current playoff standings, I think you're
doing better.
Gibbs, Truex, gone. Let's remove that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You still have 10 left. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope. Let me remove that because Keselowski won, but he's not in it. One,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you still have 2 more than me right now, still in the playoffs. The one that I'm shooting myself in the foot for is Bowman, but I didn't expect him to win at Chicago. So right now, this is going to be.
I was really happy to see Bowman win at Chicago for one reason and one reason only. I wanted to get out of the. I wanted to get out of the rain.
Yeah, get out of the rain. Absolutely.
Was that rain? I'm not 100% sure, but I might be going back for the next one.
Hey, it's going to be. Hopefully, it's not going to rain because that would be a fun one to go to. Okay, let's talk about the playoffs, though. Round of 16, Joey Logano won at Atlanta, which locked him into the round of 12, followed by Chris Buescher, a non-playoff driver, winning at Watkins Glen. Then Kyle Larson, absolutely clinic. The clinic of clinics that we've ever seen in the NASCAR Cup Series at Bristol. Followed by Ross Chastain winning the first race of the round of 12, with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning at Talladega, 2 non-playoff drivers. And now we go to the Roval this weekend, Chad. And let me tell you, this could be a very interesting weekend, mainly because of the fact that how close the playoffs are. And one driver's already locked in. William Byron locked himself in points at Talladega.
Yeah.
So we have a playoff picture that could unravel for some folks here going into this weekend. What are your thoughts going into the Roval? Who's on the top of your mind to potentially get it done?
Going into the Roval and looking who's in it right now, you got to look at some of the guys who have won in the past, all right? You got to look at a Chase Elliott. You got to look at a Ryan Blaney, all right? And then you've got a few sleeper picks, all right? Christopher Bell. Every year, Christopher Bell sneaks his way in and then shines at the last second. He's done there. All right, but then you've got to look who's really been shining at these road courses recently. Kyle Larson and William Byron, all right? They're really showing. All right, it's definitely. Byron's already through to the next round, so he's regardless of what. But the Roval, it always throws a bit of a wrench in there.
It does, and especially with the new configuration.
Huh?
Especially with the new configuration.
Yeah, which isn't that different. So they still have a little bit of a notebook on this race to a certain extent, but I don't know.
Who do you think is going to be out? I guess that's the question. Who do you think is going to be out going into the round of 8?
3 out of the 4 drivers who I thought were going to be out in the last round made it through. So
true.
Who I think is going to be out? Cindric, Suarez, Bowman, and Briscoe.
So you're saying Bowman's going to have he's going to have to wreck, basically.
Is he in a good spot right now? I think I'm looking at the wrong playoff grid.
So he's plus 26.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was looking at the wrong damn thing. Hold on.
Yeah. So I was like, Bowman. So.
Okay. So I think it's going to be Suarez, Cindric, and Briscoe. I'm looking at the right thing now. I think I was looking at the one when it first came out. Logano, he's shown promise at road courses.
He has.
Logano's shown promise at road courses. Elliott I hate to say it. I almost want to say Reddick, but every time you doubt Reddick, every time Reddick gets out of the picture, he comes back. And I guess that's just the 23-11 way.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be Reddick. I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle, but I think it's going to be Reddick taking that last spot.
Okay, so you say, who's going to be out again? Briscoe, Cindric,
Suarez, Reddick.
They're going to be out.
Out.
Wow. Well, I may say something a little bit more shocking, but I like how you're thinking, though. I think one of these top 8, top 7, because you can't count Byron in this for points, is going to have an issue. One of these drivers will have an issue. Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, they just have to have a good stage 1, and they're fine.
Yeah.
If they finish in, I think they could totally just try to, and if I'm putting any prop bets in, which I'm going to, Christopher Bell to win stage 1 or Kyle Larson to win stage 1? Absolutely. Try to get as many stage points as possible to get in. I think one of these top 7 are going to have issues from 2nd to 8th. I think this is my sleeper. I think Chase Briscoe wins the race to lock himself into the round of 8.
Well,
I think his road course aura is not recognized. I was trying to figure out a different word to say. His road course aura is not recognized. I think he could potentially win this race and get in on points, which is going to push Cindric, Suarez, and it's hard to not say Logano, but I think Logano isn't the best out of these playoff drivers above him. I think Ryan Blaney has a really good day too. I think that it's going to be Cindric out, Suarez out, Logano, and then pick somebody out of that top 4 to 8 to have an issue. Maybe Denny Hamlin, maybe Alex Bowman, maybe Tyler Reddick. I don't know, but I know that I am predicting on a long shot that Briscoe somehow makes it in, possibly with a win. He's my sleeper pick this weekend. So
I was talking to Taylor Kitchen with Above the Yellow Line. Shout out Taylor. She made a very interesting point. Stewart Haas is going out of business at the end of the year. They've got one driver in the playoffs.
Yep.
What's stopping them from throwing everything and at Briscoe
to win a championship in the 14? I mean, the iconic number with Tony Stewart. I mean, like, it's everything. And I agree. I think if they can get in, I think Suarez is going to struggle. I think Cindric could be battling up there, but there's only 3 points separating Briscoe and Cindric. I think somebody from 2nd to 8th is going to have a big issue. Therefore, it's not going to get in by points. It may be Suarez, because Suarez shot himself on the foot at Dega. I agree with her entirely. I think Briscoe could potentially have the kitchen sink and everything poured behind him to possibly go on and win the chip. So yeah, I mean, if I had to make a prediction this weekend, I'm not trying to be a homer, but by previous statistics, the fact that he's already locked in, what's to say William Byron doesn't try to win a race to carry momentum into the round of 8, which he has won at every single track in the round of 8.
Yeah.
So what's to say he doesn't want to carry momentum? He has Max Pappas behind him, coaching him. Jeff Gordon, a really great road course racer as well.
Yeah.
Like, what's to say Byron doesn't go for it with a brand new paint scheme? I don't know if you've seen it. It's a really cool Valvoline scheme, actually.
It's really cool.
So if I think Byron has a very good shot at winning this weekend, and Briscoe's my long shot pick. Who's your pick to win?
Pick to win, I mean, it's hard not to say some of these guys who have won here before. Slightly different layout, makes you think about it a little bit differently, but at the same time, it's the base of it is still the same racetrack to a certain extent. Excuse me.
Who you got?
I'm gonna say Chase Elliott.
That's a solid pick. I like Chase. I think he's in a spot to where he needs to win, especially with how the playoffs are unfolding. And I think with him being in that last spot, I don't think he wants to be there.
Any of the bottom 4 could have a fantastic stage, and he be in a must-win situation.
For sure. And that's where I think you have these drivers like a Christopher Bell, like a Kyle Larson, that are trying to maximize points. Because Christopher Bell, all he needs is a few. I think he needs an 11th place finish, and he's locked himself into the playoffs with no stage points. So, like, I forget what actually. Let me quote Bob Pockrass here. What did Bob say? What did Bob say? Okay. Also, NBC got a 1.47 rating and 3.12 million viewers for NASCAR's Cup Series race at Talladega, up 23% and 25% from last year. Jumped a quarter right there. Let me see if I could find this from Bob. Hold on. Bob said it. Bob had it. Hold on. Where was it? Oh, did I not screenshot it? Man, that's unfortunate. Hold on. Okay. No matter what anyone else does at Charlotte, Bell clinches with 11 points 26th with no stage points. Larson with 16 points. He has to finish 21st with no stage points. Hamlin has to get 32 points. Bowman has to get 42 points. Blaney has to get 43 points. And Reddick has to get 54 points. So I think Bell and Larson try to get as far as they can. If they finish 6th and 5th and flip, and then Larson has a good finish, he's locked in. I think that this fight, possibly because of the way that things are switched up, I agree with you. The back end of the field is going to have to be up there at the front because it's almost a perfect storm, because you have Bell, Larson, Hamlin going to try to get in on points early in the race, which means they're going to have to flip the stages, which means they're going to be ahead at the start and then go to the back, right? Which means Elliott and Reddick will probably short pit 2 laps before, try to flip the stage themselves to start out front in stage 2, to then flip the 3rd stage to be there at the end of the race. So I'm right with you. I think that's a great look. Great look, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess that kind of wraps us up.
Yeah, episode 27,
26.
4 or 5. Yeah, 26. Episode 26 is under wraps. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be back every single week, even when there's no NASCAR, IndyCar, or Formula One action. So make sure to hit that subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure to rate us and to like the podcast as well, and share this with anybody who is a racing fan. And also, as always, make sure to follow us on all of our socials at Flag to Flag Podcast everywhere: TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram, it's Flag to Flag _podcast. Until next time, we will see you. We are waving the imaginary checkered flag, and here comes Charles Leclerc. Ka-chow.